If you've been following me, you know that I like to challenge myself in my life to see how I'm doing, to see what the results are from the way I live. And I like to push my body, mind, soul, emotions to the limit to see how I'm doing. Last time I did this was when I moved myself a mile down the road from apartment to apartment, carrying the furniture in the alleyway. And then the rest of it took about 14 and a half hours. So this project, somebody was throwing away this beautiful terracotta pot that they covered it with this weatherproof, thick-ass white paint. And so I decided to get sandpaper and hand sand it to my liking. Now, originally I had gotten 80 grit. That didn't make a dent, so I got 40. It's the grainiest sandpaper, and it would be like 100 passes would maybe start breaking through it. So this was starting to get ridiculous. And I chose this position sitting on the floor because it was more challenging. My skin, my musculature, my skeleton being on a cement floor hunched over. Plus, I could get closer to my project, which I'm going to touch upon later. But the physical demands of this life test that I wanted, especially with this point in my life that's going on right now after the last 4 months, I wanted to challenge specifically my hands. And so this was something that really brought out a lot of emotion. My hands, my fingers, my shoulders. My body was just a delivery unit of what my hands were doing. But there's something to be said for when you put in work, especially creatively, in a world of pure convenience where everything can be done for you. Even the creative stuff can be done for you now. But when you choose to put in work, you connect with things better. You feel things on a deeper level. I was able to see every single square millimeter of this pot that was now mine, that I acquired, and I was going to take ownership of, and I was going to create something that I'm now going to grow a living thing inside of. And so I wanted to find that connection while also challenging my body physically, mentally, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally. And this almost broke me. 2 hours in, I almost called it quits. No joke. I was teetering and was like, I don't know if this is worth it. I might have overextended myself. I'm like, you know what? What you ended up seeing and the connections were, I would get frustrated and would go harder and faster, right? And then I pulled away for a little bit, and then I went in and just did little circles and went at a different pace and approached it completely differently. And just how you go ahead and problem solve things when you do the work, when you struggle while you do the work, and more importantly, when you feel while doing the work. Now, my back wrenched, my hip flexors wrenched, my knees tired. This was the pinnacle. This was the 4-hour mark, and I had just noticed under the lip here that there was paint that I just wasn't happy with. My fingers are absolutely done. And so I went around this rim and ended up finishing this, but you got to understand this was 4 hours of nonstop in the sun, in these positions, holding this thing, hand sanding with 40 grit sandpaper. This almost broke me right here. Just this little part, that's why I'm showing it the longest. It absolutely brought me to my brink, pushed me emotionally, mentally, intellectually, and spiritually. But I think you will notice that I was very pleased with how it ended up turning out. And again, in a world where convenience is everything, for every convenience we choose, we devolve. I want to say that again. For every convenience you choose, you devolve slightly. Choose your conveniences wisely. Here's the finished product. Pretty badass. With the only thing, how did my body do? How did my mind, spirit do? Well, body, the only thing we should see when we test like this is blisters. And these were blisters on the butt of my hand. These weren't friction blisters. This was heat blisters like you get when you walk on a sidewalk. So it's 2nd-degree burns from the heat. And I didn't notice it, and I had popped them. And so this is the end where if you are testing yourself, you shouldn't see ligament damage, joint damage, muscle damage. You should see skin irritation. That should be the extent of it. So I'm pleased with the test, positive results, and there's my trophy. Now to find something living to put in it. For every convenience you choose, you devolve. Choose your conveniences wisely. Test yourself regularly to see if the way you are living is suitable for growth every year, wiser, better, stronger, more able.